So, Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera is coming up pretty soon. And honestly, I can't say I'm super hyped for this matchup. I mean, I'm just being honest. And I think that's a sentiment many MMA fans share, to the point where I don't even know if it's worth breaking this fight down. I mean, clearly Sean O'Malley is the far, far more skillful fighter than Chito Vera. To me, the most exciting aspect of this fight is the possibility that Chito lands a Hail Mary head kick past the fourth round to win it. Either that or Chito's big toe lands on Sean's perennial nerve again. I mean, if he does that, then officially that is the new best base for MMA, targeting the nerve. But other than that, I don't know. I don't think you guys need me to go super in depth on why Sean O'Malley should be a heavy favorite going into this fight. It's pretty clear. The one aspect of this fight that I want to look into is this narrative going around. Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't even know if it's a narrative going around, but MMA Guru and that one guy ducking me harder than John Jones is ducking the entire heavyweight division other than Stipe seem to be convinced, and I mean really convinced, that there's a 0% chance that Sean O'Malley finishes Chito, and that this fight is going to be, and I quote, like Adesanya versus Romero. Now, that's a bold claim. Not only bold, I think it's actually really stupid to say that. I think it's really, really dumb. But not because I don't think this fight has the potential to be boring. I mean, that is certainly possible. It really is dependent on their game plans going into this fight. If Sean O'Malley, who is the heavy favorite, really does not want to take any chances at all, if him and his team sit down beforehand and go, okay, look, Chito, he's tough to finish, he's got really good cardio, I absolutely cannot lose this fight, it'll be the biggest fumble in UFC history, I'm not going to take any chances, I'm not going to take any risks, then yeah, the fight can certainly be boring. But the reason why I don't think it's smart to make that your prediction for what you think is going to happen is because Sean O'Malley, he just doesn't typically fight like that. Sean and Israel Adesanya have different attributes, different strengths in comparison to their opponents. Yes, they're both tall, lanky kickboxers, but that's pretty much where the comparisons end. But I understand why certain prominent figures are coming to this conclusion, that this fight is going to end up like Adesanya Romero. And that is because, for one, Chito Vera has never been finished in his entire career. Two, you look at Sean O'Malley's last fight as a perfect example. In the first round, not much happened at all except Sean throwing teeps to the body and then constantly circling away. It wasn't until Aljamain Sterling literally ran at Sean face first and got countered really hard that Sean even threw a meaningful punch. And you don't need me to tell you this, but of course, Chito Vera is not going to do that. Chito Vera does not overextend himself like that. So it all makes perfect sense. Chito is going to stay very defensively sound, he's going to be trying to march Sean down, and Sean's just going to use his movement and length to stay away, and not much is going to happen. But if both of these guys fight like they normally fight, I really don't think that's going to be the case. The first thing we need to look at and understand is, why is Chito's defense so good? Why is he so hard to finish? I've definitely heard people say, oh, his chin is so good, his chin is unfair. I don't think it's quite his chin that does it. It's the fact that every time his opponents move in with punches, he tucks his chin, puts both hands up, and braces hard. It's not necessarily that he has a chin made out of iron. It's that his chin's not really there to get hit. And of course, in order to finish your opponent, you really got to connect on the chin. And that's why it's so hard to finish Chito. But that doesn't mean he doesn't get hit. I think this clip here of him fighting Jose Aldo is a great example of this. Jose moves in, Chito does his patented defensive maneuver, and Aldo lands a hook hard right on the forehead. It was a hard shot, landed clean, but the way Chito was bracing and protecting his chin, he's not going to get finished from a punch like that. And that's why he uses that guard. But while defensively the guard works great, it does have some limitations. The big one is finding counters. You see, a lot of time Chito can't find counters because he's shelling up so hard. In order to find a counter while your opponent's punching you, you need to rely on head movement so your hands are open for the counters. And it's for that reason that guys like Corey Sandhagen and Rob Font were able to land combinations on Chito. Because, again, he's shelling up, letting you throw. He's going to block most of it, make you waste energy, and then he'll set up his own combinations afterwards. But just this fact on its own is already enough to disprove the whole idea that this fight is going to be Adesanya versus Romero. Just look at all the jabs Rob Font was landing. He was landing it on the forehead. It's not going to hurt Chito, but it's certainly bopping his head back. He's closing his eyes. He's bracing. And the only thing I can think watching these jabs land and watching Chito's head get popped back with his eyes closed is what would happen if O'Malley's the one landing this jab and he steps in hard with a right hand, just like he did against Peter Yan, another fighter who's known for shelling up and making his chin really hard to hit. Now, I don't think Sean's going to be able to finish Chito with a straight shot like that, but remember, when Adesanya fought Romero, Yoel was just baiting Adesanya to overextend so he can land counters, which he did in the first round. So this made Adesanya super careful, never overextended, never took a risk, and we ended up with a fight like that. But what exactly is Sean scared of from Chito here? And I'm asking this genuinely. If someone has an answer, comment down below. Why would Sean be scared of uncorking a right hand off of a jab? Against Aljamain Sterling, it's very, very clear. You whiff a right hand, he ducks underneath and grabs a hold of your legs. You're in serious trouble. So Sean had to be super defensively careful not to overextend. That's not there with Chito Vera. I'm not saying there's no takedown threat, but against Aljamain Sterling, it is life or death if he gets you to the ground, right? That's not the same with Chito Vera. Back when Sean fought Pedro Munoz, Pedro did not throw any punches at all. He only threw leg kicks, didn't extend at all, and didn't give Sean any opportunity to counter, which one would argue might be Chito's strategy going into this fight. And yes, for the most part, Sean stayed on the outside, threw a lot of jabs. But the fact that Pedro wasn't throwing any punches did not stop Sean from looking to land that straight off of his jabs. So if Sean has success with his jabs, which we've seen in the past, Chito lets himself get hit with jabs. Why would not Sean look to land the right hand after? You see, what made Adesanya good was the fact that he was the far more technical kickboxer than all of his opponents. He wasn't the most powerful, he wasn't the strongest, and it's for that reason he needed to be very elusive and point fight against these real heavy hitters. But that's just not Sean O'Malley. Like, that comparison is kinda stupid. Sean is a knockout artist. He is the hard hitter in this matchup. And for the millionth time, because I know I'll receive comments about it, I'm not gonna say that I think Sean O'Malley can knock out Chito for certainty. But I also think it's dumb to say that there's no shot at all. And Chito has never fought somebody as fast, as long, and hits as hard as Sean O'Malley does. So is this fight going to be fireworks? Is it going to get fight of the night? Probably not. I just think people are forgetting the main factor why Adesanya Romero played out like it did, and that was because Yoel Romero was super, super dangerous. And I just do not think Chito Vera has that same danger factor. He has that power. He has those combinations. He has that ability to counter. I don't see it, and therefore I think Sean O'Malley is going to look for his kill shot. I don't think he'll get it. He may. But as long as he does that, it's not going to be a boring fight. It just isn't.